So what we hope to share with you today is how to uplift the value of EdTech in your school, make your digital work valued, make your digital work visible for everyone to access, develop effective peer assessments, collate whole school work, support whole school moderation of standards, enable collaboration in real time and nurture collaborative problem solving.
So we wanted to transform these things. In the UK, if you're being inspected, you're big on book trawls, evidencing the work, finding where the work is, going through it, making sure it's consistent. We wanted to look at subject coordinator moderation. A lot of those displays ask a rhetorical question like, could you do these fractions? Could you improve these halves and quarters? But the kids never get any chance to answer. They're all rhetorical questions. We found some technology where they can actually scribe their answers, they can format their answers. So this is the technology that we've used. We've put a Nureva wall in, a digital wall. We found it at BET last year. We'll show you where we've put it in a moment. You don't have to have this technology. We'll show you how you can do it without, towards the end of the presentation. But this is in a conjoined area of the school. It's not in a classroom, it's in a corridor. So you might be thinking, well, why is Dave telling me about putting something in a corridor? It's because we want to make that learning visible to everybody that walks past. So in other words, the concept of this is, we want to create a living display. So that's the area where the three corridors join. It was a place where old reading books went to die. So we've transformed it now into our area where the living display board is. So you can submit work to that board from wherever you are located, on whatever device you want. And the reason for that is embodied in this Education Endowment Foundation slide, which is showing the effects of different aspects of input into a school. So, for example, if you put one-to-one tutoring in, you get sort of a reasonable impact per £1,000. But the digital technology gives you a +4 impact. But if you match the digital technology to feedback and peer tutoring and additional work, you get a +8 impact on standards. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to take the digital technology, which on its own gives a reasonable return on money, but link it to that impact on standards. So the technology is that nice wall where people can submit work to it that you can then move around and you can then let everybody see it. So Gareth, over to you now for these different scenarios.
So these are these different scenarios that we've come up with over the last few months working together. So we've done whole school themes for all classes, and this is every class in the whole school contributing on a day or a week to a canvas that will be live in the area where everyone can see what's being doing. The second one is subject-based, so this will be an English lesson, this would be a maths lesson where a year group will be contributing to. Poetry or story writing, we're going to go into detail about our English in year 6, year 6 and 5, where we've used this software for whole class contribution. Year group IPC themes, so again, you've got at the start of an IPC topic work, we've got a way of actually getting all the information onto the board so that we can then look back at the end of the topic and see what we're doing. And then moderation of schoolwork, so all the teachers would take an image of a piece of work in a book, send it to the software, and then you'd have the maths coordinator or whichever coordinator would then look at the whole breadth of the school's work and moderate it.
So with this system, we're able to blend traditional pen-based work and digital work as well by taking an image snapshot, which you can annotate over the top.
And then finally, collaboration with other schools. So we're going to show you how, using this style of learning, we're actually working with year 4 children in primary school and students in Canada, in high schools in Canada, and how they can actually teach our children. This is the first example. So this is whole school collaboration. This is, we were doing this with digital safeguarding, so we asked a question and we did an assembly at the start of the week, and then the actual children all contributed to answers throughout that.
To get the children to write live comments on the walls. So, there we go.
So they can actually see what every other year group's doing. So that was a year 4 class, and the discussion, then they contributed their ideas. This is, again, I think a year 1 class, year 2 class, and they're actually now starting to sort out the answers and actually to look at what they've written and then comment on what they've actually written. So they're assessing what their fellow students are doing.
So to go back to that idea of having a display up in your school that people walk past, what we've done is transform that into a display where you walk past it, you look at it, stop, go back, and you can add comments onto it. So you can do it live. So we've got our digital leaders within the schools now organising children to actually take it in turns to put comments up on the Nureva wall.
And because it's in a situation right where they're going to go out to play, they actually take a detour and actually access the board. So this is the software. So it's on 2 boards, 2 separate walls joining, and you've got about 40 foot of workspace that you can keep scrolling, and we can build groups. So this group is, it's going to zoom in. So we asked a question, and then the children contributed to that. And then this is where we go with that. They were doing some some posters of e-safety. I think we need to focus on some spelling as well now instead of e-safety. But this is working, and then we can actually children can come and see this. So this is live all the time at school now. This is our English. So English, we started, we were doing Macbeth, the start of the week. The children started with the teachers posed some questions. The children contributed to get them moving, get them thinking about what they're going to do in their writing later on in the week. And later on, the children then can go back, and actually there's an opportunity for the flip chart next to it where they can actually access and they can peer review what the children have said.
So the addition here is the iPads or devices. It can be Surface devices or laptops or anything. So we can then get individuals to input their work straight onto the canvas. So the first example we're showing you with the teacher orchestrating it, but this is now adding that onto that level. So we've also then on this canvas we're going to show you, we've added some self-assessment emoticons. So we've added some like buttons, some think a bit more about it, some right buttons, some good idea buttons, which we're devising for the kids to peer review. So here's a year 6, so this was year 5 work, year 6 reviewing it.
So they're reading it, they're looking, they're thinking, actually they could improve this section, that's a very good area, and just dragging it across.
So here's it running live.
So there are the icons. Those are the areas where children can write the peer reviews, or the comments that they're doing.
It's fantastic. We've got kids walking past with their coats on, wanting to go out and play football, and they're doing a double take. But my work's there. Oh, that's my friend's work. Can I stop and read it? I've never seen anything like it, really. You know that when you put a new display up in a school, for the first time they walk past, they look at it. Well, just imagine the power of this, because you're changing the display on a daily basis, actually during the day. And you can put the displays back up and you're capturing them digitally. This
is something that we came across at the end, but this is actually incredibly powerful. So you can see that staff in year 2, they've submitted work to the board, and then you have the actual moderators who would be there live as the work's coming in, and they're looking, they're making it bigger, they're looking at the actual work, but they can see the whole school. So this is fractions, and they can see how the whole school's approaching fractions, and then comments, but also the teachers can then see in their classrooms straight away, initial feedback straight away, live feedback. Okay, so finally with global collaboration, so we did this with a year 3 class, and Dave, do you want to just
so normally the year 3 get a project to do to make some D&T models at home and bring them in. And what normally happens is they get shown in assembly, then they get put on a shelf and they get forgotten. So we've sort of taken that, we've shown them in assembly, so we've done the same things, but then we've uploaded them, the kids have uploaded them to the canvas. So they've taken a photograph with the iPad of their models, written a little bit about what they've done in Word, posted that up next to the model. So they've had to explain it. Then we've opened up the canvas to some high school students in Canada to review it. So as part of their work, they were doing design analysis and what makes a great design. So we called it, our project was the 100 Greatest Inventions. So the models were made here by Year 3 students. The put up onto the canvas, the images were with explanations, and then the high school students were asked to comment on them, review them, give them feedback. So here we go.
So those are the comments from Canada that they've actually written on.
So here you can see the images of the models, the post-it notes. We've got to come up with a system for colour coding the contributions so we know who's done what. We've only had this system since end of October, beginning of November, so we're evolving it. But the peer review on here was fantastic. Now the Canadian students now are producing a canvas for the UK students to actually teach them more science about the inventions. So again, we'll probably come back to Vet next year and tell you about how we've got on with that. So just to prove it happened at break time, the bell's gone off. And what's the girl's name here?
Abby Bromwich.
So Abby's organised. We didn't ask these kids to stop, but it's their work. So you would, wouldn't you? She's going to make a great teacher because she's telling the kids what they did wrong, because she was one of the organising crew. So basically, you couldn't hear that. What she's saying is, you need to put your name on it. You need to make sure it's in the right box. She's organising it for them. So she's interacting with that technology. That's the first time she used it. She said, can I talk to the rest of them? Because these are the words, it's doing my head in the way this work's coming in. I've got to sort them out. And she was fantastic. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. You can download it from my blog site here. It's in PDF form, and it'll be available on the VET website later on.